Host, More Yelvington of Morph Transform Your Reality, where I help women step out of trauma and reclaim their power. I'm so happy to have you here for this open conversation about moms, sex, motherhood, children, relationships, marriage, and everything in between. So grab your drink of choice and let's dive in.
Most beautiful guest with me today.
Aw.
Lanell. Hi, Lanell.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I am wonderful. I'm dealing with some allergies. I'm not gonna lie. That's why y'all see me with these tissues and wiping my eyes. I have allergies to actually dog hair, and yet I have 5 dogs. I know. Absolutely. But I love my kids and I love my husband and they love dogs. So I just suffer through and thank God that I am willing to do it. And that's it. So we're good.
So I'm really excited to have you on because I know that we're going to have such an eye-opening, amazing conversation today. And maybe we can start with you just kind of telling us what it is that you do and how you help women around the world.
Oh, well, my husband and I are marriage coaches and relationship coaches. And there's some people that don't want to ever get married, and we've realized that. And if that's the end goal for you, kudos. Okay. I am not here to judge. But we just noticed that there's so many couples that are just they're divorcing and they're giving up on their relationship for small, minute things, right? That really are that just are meaningless. And when I like sit back and I listen to different stories of women breaking up with husbands and husbands breaking up with women or relationships, I'm like, man, you guys have really not been through too much, you know? And what you're not realizing is that a lot of times they'll say, well, I'm breaking up and I need to work on me, but they don't really work on them because then you see them in a relationship with somebody else not that long, right? Not that long after. And I'm like, you really didn't work on you, baby. You didn't heal much, you know? And then you find out that there's a lot of trauma in their past that they really haven't stemmed from and really haven't dealt with. And that's why they keep going in the same relationships. It just looks like a different face. That's all it is. And
Right.
so we
Yeah.
said, yeah, we had a really horrible marriage for the first 10 years. And we were kids having children. We had 2 children. I walked down the aisle 6 months pregnant with our daughter. Our son was the ring bearer. And so I just really made it horrible for my husband, to be honest with you. He covered me, he protected me, he made it seem like he was the most horrible husband in the world, and I was actually the most horrible wife in the world. I am not saying that he did not have his faults, because Lord knows, yes, he did. But what I will say is that I didn't know myself. And so with me not knowing myself, I really took him through a lot. And I finally had to really wake up and say, Lanell, what's going on, baby? You're telling this man he needs to change, he needs to do this, he needs to do that. He's doing everything that you're asking of him, but you're still miserable. You're still finding a way to make his life miserable, and he's trying to make your life better. So what is it? It's you. It's really you, Lanell. And I just decided to really work on me, work on some inner peace to figure that out. I needed inner peace within so that I could share the inner peace without. Yes, I could fake it till I made it. I didn't really want to fake it anymore. I'm going to be honest with you. I hate that saying. Just fake it till you make it. No, I don't want to fake anything. I want to be authentic. I want to be real. When I'm having a bad day, it is what it is. I'm human, but I shouldn't have to be nice and sweet and kind to everybody outside my home, right? And then inside my home, I'm horrible to my husband. And
Right.
then that triggers down to my children. We have these kids and they see that, they feel that, they know what's going on. And mommy's walking around angry and they're not understanding why. Husband's not understanding why. He's trying to console and figure this out. So it was a lot. And we had to just really dig in and figure things out individually and then be able to come together. So now we're here, 19 years later, married and happier than ever. We still have moments because we're both still human. I tell people that all the time. We teach principles. We have 8 pillars that we teach on mindset, self-belief, communication, ownership, goal setting, shifting, intimacy, and then your North Star. What is the goal? And in those courses, we tell you stories and things that we actually had to go through. My husband went to Iraq for 18 months, and during that time we were separated. And I mean, not separated because he was in Iraq for 18 months. We were actually separated in our marriage. And our daughter had a stroke at the age of 5, and I was 38 weeks pregnant. And so we were in a foreign country. And that was, another emotional roller coaster we had to go through. Come to find out that our son that was born in Germany, and we had another child after that. So our 2 boys actually have autism. They were labeled with autism, 2 different spectrums. So 3 children in therapy was a lot. It really was a lot on me. And my husband was still in the military, still needing to get up and go to work every single morning. And he takes his job very serious. And so for him, he was like, I'm here for my wife and I'm trying to be here for these kids, but I got work to do. So he was gone. And when he came home, he did his best to, get in there and help me and do what he could. But a lot of it fell back on me. And so it was a lot. It was a lot. But we're good. We're here. And, that's my goal, to help women understand that you got to really look within. A lot of times you want to blame your husband. And like I said, I'm not saying that your husbands or your boyfriends are not in fault for some of the things that they are doing. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is you can't control him. You can't change him. You can't criticize him enough to make him want to change. You can't nag him enough to make him want to change. He has to want to change within. And that's it. And so you just work on you, work on fixing you. Okay. And if he is meant to be there, if he is valuable, once he sees that you worked on you, and then he'll hopefully work on him, and then y'all can have this wonderful union. But if you within yourself work on you, and then you realize, one, he's just your boyfriend, so you don't have to stay in that relationship. Okay. But if you are married and he no longer serves you, okay, then you need to seek a coach. Because I will never say divorce. I will never say break up. I will never say any of that until, if there's some physical altercation, that's different. If there's some physical abuse, I always say leave. If there's some emotional, mental abuse, I would say still get a coach before you just walk away, because sometimes there's a trigger in that man. There's things going on in that man, and maybe that's why he is the way he is. And if he got some help, he would stop doing that. And so I'm not sitting here saying abuse is okay, but what I am saying is my husband and I both did that. We mentally and we emotionally abused each other because of his past trauma and because of my past trauma. And we brought it together, and that's what we did. But with help, we were able to work through that, and we don't have those circumstances in our life any longer. And so I would never tell anybody to do anything that I haven't dealt with in my own expertise and my own life and what we've actually conquered.
Yeah. So what are some steps that you did in order to start healing that trauma, in order to, to start shifting that?
I stopped focusing on my husband. I stopped focusing on him. I stopped worrying about what he was doing and what he wasn't doing. And I started focusing on everything Lanell needed to do. And I really started to...
what does that look like? Like, what did you need to do?
For me, I decided to focus on healing myself. I was messed with when I was 6 years old, and I never dealt with that.
Yeah.
And that was from a teenage friend of ours that was supposed to be babysitting us, me and my brothers. And at the time, I really didn't understand what was going on. And then, of course, later on in life, I was like, oh, that's what that was. And I was told to keep it a secret and not say anything. And that's what I did. And then from the age of 8 until I was 13 years old, I had this sexual relationship with another friend of the family's. And he was only like 2 years older than me. And so we both were really young. But I think, to be honest with you, looking back, I think something was happening with him.
Yeah.
I think something was happening with him because we were so young. So it's like, how at that age you were knowing what to do, and trying to experiment in this sexual encounter. And it started with just kissing, and then it started with then touching each other in private parts. And then it started with like, hey, my friends are having sex, and whether or not that was true or not, I don't know. I just know that that's what he said. And I said, oh, that's the next step we need to be doing. And I just really it was like he had this spell over me, and I just kept doing whatever he said. I felt like I was supposed to. I wanted to tell somebody, I wanted to stop, but I didn't know how to. And so I just kept doing it. And then I turned around and I got a boyfriend when I was 14, and he was older than me. And from 14 until 16, I just had all these sexual partners that didn't serve me, but I didn't understand why I was continually being with them. I didn't really desire them, but I was doing the act. It was just an act. And then I brought it into my marriage, which obviously, is one of the reasons why we were going through so much. And I just really started to seek counseling. I remember just kind of like, I need help. Like I've had all these children and I'm postpartum and I don't know what all these emotions are. And I knew I wouldn't hurt my children, but I kept feeling like I don't want to deal with these kids.
Yeah.
I told my doctor and she got me help. And she's like, nope, come see me. And I saw a therapist and she really did help me go back to that past and say, what's really happening? Which have you not dealt with? And I had to uncover that. And I didn't want to uncover that. I really wanted to leave it back where it was, but it was still actually in the forefront of my mind. I was still dealing with it. I think a lot of people think just because you're no longer at that age, and you're not talking about it, that it ain't still there. Oh, baby, it's here. It's here. It's here. It's all over. And you feel it. And so I had to seek therapy. I had to then go to God and be like, okay, now you want to help me with this because I'm not right. And I'm sharing a lot of emotions. And I was able to kind of hide a lot of my emotions for years. I didn't really want to cry too much. And so I was crying all the time and I was having to really just delve in and try to figure that out. What did that look like for me? How do I share this? I had to open up to my mother and tell her what happened. I had to talk to my husband and say, hey, I know you know certain things, but I'm going to need to really get you to understand the full picture of what's happened. And when I did that, it was like a release. To release it to my mother, for her to understand that I was feeling a certain type of way towards her because I felt like, why you not protecting me? Right? Her and my father, like, you're not protecting me, but this is what's happening, right? And I realized I didn't tell them though. So how would they know? And I was able to hide it. So I can't fault them, but I was blaming them. And then the same thing with my husband. It was like sharing it with him was like a release for me in our marriage for him to see like, oh, that's why you closed off. That's why certain touches don't make you feel good. That's why when I do this or I ask you to do this, this is uncomfortable for you. You got to be honest with yourself first, and then you be honest with your partner, and then you got to forgive yourself. Because I had another thing I had to do. I had to forgive myself because I really felt like I was just trying to use excuses for why I didn't do certain things. Why? And I realized, girl, forgive yourself. Like you just didn't know. You truly didn't know, Lanell. You didn't know that you had a voice and you didn't realize that you could have said something and that you could have stopped this a long time ago, but you just chose like you didn't want to do that. And so let it go. Understand that that's happened, but now you're here, right? And you got these beautiful babies and you got this amazing husband. And this is where you're at. Live in the present moment. And that's what I had to start doing. I had to really start just living in the present moment and stop living in my past.
I love that. And I say this to my clients all the time because this is exactly what's going on, right? We have anxiety, we have depression, we don't know where it's coming from.
Right.
There's some hidden trauma. I keep saying you're not born with postpartum depression. You're not born with anxiety. You're not born with migraines. Those are just symptoms of your body to tell you, hey, something is happening. You need to look deeper. So I think it's so powerful. And you are such a testimony to someone that went through all of this and look at where you are now, which is incredible and inspiring. So
Thank you.
what are some tips you can share with the listeners about how to make that bulletproof marriage, right? And maybe, how do we tie sex into this a little bit?
Well, what I would say is first, you have to, once again, work on your inner peace, work on your inner self. You really do. I need you, ladies and men, and I need you to stop looking for tangible things to fulfill you. Tangible, materialistic, money, going on trips, trying to keep up with the Joneses, all that is not going to fulfill you at all. It truly will not. Okay. And I did that for a while. Let me tell you something. It kept me in debt. Okay. And kept me broke and it kept me unfulfilled and I wasn't happy. It was just a moment. That's all it was. It was a moment. And so when I realized that, I'm doing everything here. I'm trying to, I got the latest purses. I got the latest shoes. I got this, I got that. We doing this, we doing that. I'm still not happy. I was like, oh, wait, how do I get happiness? And I had to go back. How did you release all of the past? How did you get happy with that? How did you get happy with just staying in the present moment? So we always tell people, do your best. Stop looking at your past once you've healed yourself. Stop making it an excuse of why you are the way you are. That's another thing. Take ownership of where you're at in life. Start seeking some counsel. You need to always seek counsel. It's nothing wrong with that. I think it's a great thing. But I would say when you seek counsel, go from an expertise, not somebody that's read a bunch of books. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not really into somebody that's read a bunch of books and able to tell me other people's story. I need to really be able to understand that you've been through what I've been through, or you understand what I've been through in the sense of, man, my sister or my mother, or, you know, I can feel that. I know what you've been through. But if you could sit there and listen to me and not really give me this warm and fuzzy feeling that you get me and that you can really help me because you truly understand what I've been through, then it won't work. I would tell you to learn communication. You know, you got to learn how to communicate. People do not know how to communicate nowadays at all. They don't know how to look each other in the eyes. They don't know how to get away from their phones and social media. You stop posting your whole life on social media. It's the wrong thing to do. It won't fulfill you. All those likes and notifications and all those tangible moments of validation. Honey, validate yourself, baby. That's what I tell people. I don't need validation from nobody. Once I learned truly who I was, validation from myself is the most important part. I wake up and feel great and blessed and highly favored in everything that I do because I was born to have this. I was born to be this way. Don't look to want to have somebody else's life. Don't look to want to be like anybody else because you were created uniquely the way that you were. That's the most beautiful part of this world, is that we were all created different. And the being decided that. The universe said, oh, I want you to look like this, and I want you to be like this, and I want you to talk like this, and I want you to act like this because you got something that nobody else has. And if you could work on understanding that part, then everything else will fall in line. And that's what we're trying to do, is get couples to understand that seek yourself first, work on yourself first, then work within your marriage. And then once you do that, everything else will fall in line. And stop comparing yourself to other couples. Stop comparing yourself to what you see. What you see is not always what it is. Understand that too. So,
yeah. Love that. Thank you so much. That is so powerful. So if our listeners want to know more about you and your husband and what magic you guys are creating together, where can they find you?
They can find us at mybulletproofmarriages.com. That's our website. On there, you can purchase our course. You can purchase one-on-one coaching from us. We have a Facebook group that you can join. We have couples in there that range from being married 1 year to being married for 40 years. I love my couple that's in there for 40 years because they be helping us. And so we're always in there with, it's a community of people just trying to really stay together, work on our marriage, ask questions. My husband and I do our best to post every single day something that we have been through that we could share with other couples to help them. And so I will tell you this, on December 31st, we will be on TV. So we've decided to take our podcast to television. So any live stream, Trajectory TV, YouTube, Facebook Live, Roku, Apple, Google, LG, Samsung, all of those. Then we will be there Sundays at 3 p.m. live. So you can go in there and check us out. And we are so excited. The first show airs on December 31st.
Congratulations. That is amazing accomplishment. Wow.
Thank you so much. We are so excited just to be able to share. That's our goal. Our goal is all about helping people, all about improving, within yourself, and then work on your marriage. Everybody thinks they come to us and we're going to automatically just fix their marriage. And we're like, oh, once we sit with them, we're like, can we talk separate? Because I really want to help you. And I really want to help you. And then when we help you individually, oh, that's going to look so beautiful when they come together. It's so good. And like I said, we've been through it all. So at the end of the day, we're coming with a lot of expertise due to our children, due to infidelity, due for financial issues. We've been there. We've done that. Intimacy. We've been there before. Ups and downs, having sex every single day, every single moment we could as young teenagers. So now, now it's more of an intimacy with our minds, intimacy with our spiritual, intimacy emotionally and mentally. We just the sex part is just a byproduct of those coming together.
Right. Wow. Well, thank you so much for being with me. This was such an amazing conversation.
Oh,
I
thank
really
you.
appreciate you, and I can't wait to tune in and see you live on TV.
Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate you so much for having me on. If you want me to come back, I can always do a part 2. This was so much fun. Thank you for your audience for listening. If anybody needs help, I'm here. Free call. It's a free call. Understand that free. Free is what we're about. We're here to help.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. If this was a contribution to you, please share, like, love, and comment. I would love to hear from you more, and make sure to follow us on Morph Healing. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and remember, you are here for a reason. I see you. Love more.